Hi, thanks for being connected today. My name is Julien Mathis, and I'm co-founder and CEO of Centreon, a French software company specialized in IT monitoring. I'm also one of the two students who created Centreon, the open source project, in 2003. And 17 years later, this open source software is still at the heart of our monitoring platform. The difference is that we have now 140 employees, 850 customers, and at the same time, we estimate the community around 250,000 of users for the open source software today. We are a French-based company in Paris and Toulouse, but we also opened last year some offices outside of France, in Luxembourg, in Switzerland, in Canada, where we have a team in Toronto, in UK, and finally in Italy, where we opened an office last month. We have 850 customers in all markets, all vertical, and in 60 countries. Our customers have the same common point. They need to have an IT operations at their full potential. The world runs on IT today. If you have no IT, you have no business. Today, IT operations support businesses, and Centreon gives the possibility to build a control tower to follow the performance of its IT teams. So, majority of the company now need to have this kind of functionalities, a kind of solution. When you asked me if I want to share my experience today, I was really surprised, but I thought also that the history of Centreon could be quite interesting because we made some choices totally original today. We developed a company by taking our time at the beginning with an ethical open source DNA, and we have without raising funds, and so with a profitable growth. When I see the pace of the fundraising today, I wonder if I'm not totally old-fashioned, but we can tell now that we are in the rhythm of many scale-up with more than 55% of growth last year. So we can do it during this 15 minutes, next 15 minutes. I want to tell you about six episodes that we went through trying to find the right balance between the spirit of open source that we love so much and the realities of paying rents, hiring talents, invest on innovation, what we call economic realities. So the first episode was the path from a student project to a company creation. So in 2005, we are two students at Epitech with Romain Lemerlu and myself, and we created an open source project. We aims to drive the Nagios reference open source monitoring tool. We made another choice to take the same approach that the founder of Nagios, and therefore to distribute it under the open source license, what the GPL v2. GitHub does not exist at this moment, and so we distribute our software on our user forum and on SourceForge. And we start with very few resources at the time because we were just students. But we are very happy to see many contributions coming from all over the world, and we can tell that this point is very on that point the open source is very magical. We are involved in the project without really knowing what we would do with it, but we are very motivated. Quickly, we see that our project is used massively in many companies and in public services. So rapidly, we see that it's mandatory to create a company to provide services around the product. And so in 2005, we created a consulting company named Mathis for Merlu and Mathis for helping users to deploy Centreon in a professional context. As you can see at this moment, having a company with the same name that the open source project is not smart, is not fair, is not good enough for many people. So we decided to have a different name and also to blur the lines. And it was our main business activity during the first 10 years, services around the open source product. It was the first step for Centreon. So, episode 2, we decided to create a company. So, we sell services. We develop at night and help users during the day, but we like the challenge. It was very fun. One day, a big company called us and bought 140 days of professional services for specific developments. And specific developments are completely compatible with open source because they pay for developing open source code, and we push at the end of the project the code in the core. So it's a kind of contribution, but it's kind of so sponsoring for the open source version. And it's magical. The kind of project help us to massively improve the product and put them on the market. The only one thing that we have to manage is the governance of the roadmap, because we do not accept specific development if they don't fit with the global interest of the community. And so if the code, the specific development is not in the good way for the community, we can do some modules that we give to the customer in order to just manage the new functionalities separately. During the first 10 years, we managed that point without any problems. Finally, users were quite happy to see that companies who use Centreon can also help to develop it. And also, when you are a company and you invest in a specific development, and you see that another company invests also to improve your own specific development, you are quite very easy. The business model was fair for everybody and very compatible with open source organization. The only thing we have to communicate on this for this activity is to explain some choice and focus that we made, because many choices were done with the company sponsorship focus. So it's quite difficult to understand for the community, but it works. And we all the time try to be very transparent with the community on that point. It was very important at this moment. Episode 3, a very important step for us, and technologically very important for the product. Since the beginning, Centreon is using Nagios to collect the information around monitoring. And we know that we cannot collaborate easily with the Nagios team. We don't have access to the Git, and we can not push evolution on that point. It was very hard also to communicate with them because they are not in France. They don't want to communicate with us, and so it's quite difficult. Around 2009, we are about 20 people in the team, and we start to deliver very strong projects with Nagios and Centreon, and we are faced with performance and operation problems. We are sometimes also suffering from a lack of functionalities because Nagios focus on the new UI and not on the core. So we decided to do some patches for fixing and improving Nagios, but Nagios team never accept them, and without clear reasons. So we decided to buy support, to pay for them, and they don't accept to help us. So we decided, we see that we are faced with a huge problem. We cannot collaborate, and we have a major lock for the future. We cannot do some evolution on the core. In fact, we were in competition. We are currently at this moment developing their user interface, and we have the user interface. And we want to make some evolution on the core, on the collecting engine, and they don't focus on that element at this moment. So we decided to fork. Oh, sorry. So we decided to fork, and we take the sources of Nagios and invest a lot on that point. We hire 2 C++ developers, invest 5 months of development, and increase the performance of the collection engine by 15 times. The fork was clearly welcomed by customers and users, and that gave us the possibility to innovate more on that point. And we added so many new functionalities. And today it's still a very good differentiator for us. We have 600 plugin packs, connectors, and we can monitor everything when we arrive in a new customer. So it's a very important element for us. Moreover, we change also the global image of the company. Before, we are just an add-on of Nagios, and now we are a full-fledged monitoring solution. This was a very important change for the company and for our ambition plan. Episode 4, giving premium extension to our customer. During the first 10 years, the company is growing years and years, but we have a very important list of competitors that is growing every day. These competitors are system integrators because we did services. It's a good news because they distribute Centreon in the majority of the time in France, and we compete with them. And also we are able to do some consulting on it. So maybe you have to find the way to work with them. And the problem is that they are stronger than us because the majority of the time they already have many customers, and in the majority of the time also they have a larger team of sales and marketing, and so the competition was quite hard for us. Maybe we have to think about converting this kind of competitor as partners because it's very important for the development of the company in the future. So we decided in 2011 to make some choice to differentiate ourselves from other services company. We continue to sell service, but we decided to develop also proprietary extension dedicated in the first time to our own customer. And we distribute it for free. It's just for the first step of development. We distribute the modules and we try to find the good fit with the market. This is not in a contradiction with the open source model, as this moment reinforced our position of software editor, software company. Nevertheless, we have to explain this approach to our community because it's extremely important to not give them the feeling that Centreon will be one day a closed source solution. When we decided that the extension were enough valuable, we start to sell it to our customer, but also to customers of system integrators. And so system integrators became partners. This was the start of the next step. It was the open core business model that we start in 2015. In 2015, we are around 65 people, and we decided to change the name of the company. We fully assume our position as an open source monitoring solution provider. And from there begin a very different story for Centreon. One brand, one communication, and one marketing strategy. We sell open source add-ons as well as maintenance contracts. And in the same time, we adopted a subscription model for some of connector packs, the plugin packs. This change allows us to change of dimensions. We go from growth of 20% per year to 30-45% of growth. Despite an acceleration of our business model of selling by selling paying modules, we work more than ever on the open source part because it's a base of everything, and we have to the monitoring the open source part have to be very efficient for us. So 60% of the R&D are invested are dedicated to the open source part today. Episode 6, the last one. It's navigating cloud to the cloud paradigm. With the cloud paradigm. In 2020, we decided to push Centreon into the cloud. Customer asked us for that, so we want to work. We have to work on that. We create a dedicated team in charge of reviewing our architecture and integrating Centreon in the cloud. We started 2 years after, in 2022, with a big activation plan towards the cloud and with a strong partnership with Amazon Web Services. For the moment, the feedbacks are very positive from users and from the community. We are now targeting 15% of our revenue in the cloud in 2025. However, we need to find the right balance between business and community. We still want to remain open source, to animate our community, to discover contributors every day. And in the same time, we want to bring to our customer a new offer that is easy to access and at the more interesting cost than on-premise, if you consider the indirect cost, of course. This transformation will also allow us to reach a new market where users are not hyper expert, not like today, and where they want to have a really simple solution. Our solution to all of this is to let the choice to use the top products as they want. Centreon is cloud and on-premise. So now users can choose between the cloud and on-premise, and we want to continue like that. We switched Centreon as a PLG company, product-led growth. Everything is oriented around the product, and we have to change a lot of things in order to convert directly users to customers. We have to deliver a product with a very low touch approach regarding the sales team. For that, we have to improve a lot of things in the customer journey, documentations, training, setup, and the last point, the try and buy, because we don't have try and buy today. So we have to change a lot of things, to install a lot of things around try and buy. It's a very similar method as the one we used to develop the company since the beginning, but with more leverage. So the community is still a high priority to Centreon today, and we want to continue to invest on that. We just launched a new platform, the watch.centreon.com, in order to focus on many activities around the community. It's a never-ending story. Now it's a second season. The second season is starting. The cloud is a complete paradigm shift, and a great opportunity for Centreon to continue to grow and reinvent its business model. New challenges are now opening up for us. I could, if you want, I can give you some examples. The first one is partner first. We work with partner, but we have to maximize our activities through partners. English first. You can see today that is not a very subject where a huge subject in a French company, but we try to switch the company as an English first company. Product-led growth. We have to continue to push on that subject. It's key for the future. And finally, another subject is the fundraising. What could we do if we had more financial capabilities to develop the company? This is a question that we try to answer. We are still free, and I think it's very important for the governance of an open source project. But I think with more capabilities, we can do much better for the future. To conclude, what can I say? It's that I never regret the choice of an open source model. As such, when I was a developer at the beginning, and as today, when I'm no longer in the technical field, but I discover daily users in many companies all over the world with more or less crazy uses of Centreon, and sometimes with more than 10 years of use. So it's magical. We convert our business model years and years to finally earn money with our main activities. The projects have never been so strong than today. If I have something to change, maybe to change faster between the each steps. I think it's possible today. A company can develop an open source project, doing business with it, and have the same name. So it's more powerful for the company developments. But at the beginning, it was quite tricky and to assume that. So I hope it helps you. Thanks for hearing me today. I wish you a very good moment at the OW2 conference. Bye bye.